Hello and welcome to the Liverpool Way podcast after another disappointing night. The Reds blew a 3-1 lead in the last few minutes against Aston Villa to draw 3-all in Jurgen's final away game. I'm Chris Smith, and to discuss the ongoing, unrelating, miserable end to this era, I'm joined by Julian Richards and TLW editor Dave Usher. Dave, I don't do this very often, but I got some stuff to say about this. They had everything to play for tonight, us not too much. The result kind of doesn't mean all that much in the grand scheme of things, but I'm fucking livid about that, to be honest. It's completely unacceptable as far as I'm concerned. We've got ourselves into like a great position in the game, contested it well up to that point, and then just casually just thrown it away, seemingly for shits and giggles, right? And we lose that game if it's not for an absolute miracle save by Alisson. I'm not sure, it's kind of an element of fortune to that with it as well, because he fucking blasted it in. And it managed to tip it over. But for me, that's partly due to the manager being 95% out of the door and treating it like a friendly by bringing on 4 desperately out-of-form players at the same time, at a time when we're absolutely coasting in the game, and every single one of them playing exactly as you'd expect them to do. Like Gravenberch, weak and completely anonymous. Jones, kind of toothless. Szoboszlai, unable to find a fucking teammate. Like, the 3 of them left an absolutely bollocks McAllister there to fend for himself at the end. Nunez can't be onside fucking once. The one time he does put the ball in the net, of course he's fucking offside. And that's not to say the lads on the field had covered themselves in any glory towards the end either, really, like, namely Trent just strutting around like a shit don't stink as fucking usual. But Klopp had a warning when he did the same thing against Spurs last week, made all those changes at the same time, got away with it barely because that was looking dodgy for a while as well. And did it again tonight like it's no thing. Like, our fans have travelled down there tonight, taking time off work, paid to get in, to sit through like poverty chants and abuse from those fucking slobbering Brummy remedials all night. And that would have been a massively satisfying win to screw over those fucking national anthem singing banter merchants, and it would have given us a bit more of a good feeling heading into this fucking albatross of a day on Sunday, which none of us were looking forward to whatsoever. It's all just so fucking maddening and completely unnecessary, and ruining what little bit of fun there was left to be had in this era. Over to you.
Yeah. One thing about what you said there, what you said about the subs and about what happened last week. Well, what was surprising is that Klopp actually said after the game last week about, if I could do that again, I'd probably do something different because that changed the game. So by something different, he must have meant instead of bringing on 3 subs at once, I'll bring on 4 subs at once, because that was the only thing he did different. He brought an extra sub on, because when they were making the subs, I seen like the 3 subs coming on, like the 3 midfielders, and I was fucking fuming because Darwin wasn't there. I'm like, what's going on here? And then I'm like, oh, okay, so he is there. He's bringing 4 subs on. What the fuck? Because the thing with it's happened a few times, and he said it himself. It's disrupted our rhythm. It takes us a while for everyone to settle down and get back into it again when you're making so many changes. But he did that anyway, and yeah, I think it's. I just think he thought, I'm not really arsed. It's like we're 3-1 up. There's a risk here, but yeah, I'm just going to take the risk. I want to give people a game. I'm bringing them on. 3rd place is secure either way, and I think that was his mindset. I'd like to think if we were actually still in the race, he's not making a quadruple substitution at that stage in the game at 3-1. Who knows though? I mean, to be fair, most of the season, like, he has used the subs really well. We've won games from it, and he's generally managed it quite well. There have been a few occasions where it's unsettled us for like 5-10 minutes and we've wobbled, but then we've normally, we've picked it back up again and we've been fine. Like even last week, it was hairy at one point, and they almost got back to 4-3, which would have really been a problem. But then after that, I thought like we looked just as much likely to score as them. Tonight, I mean, I didn't even think we played that well. So we're 3-1 up, and I'm like, we've not really been that good, but Villa weren't that good either, and 3-1 probably flattered us. They had chances that they didn't take. We could have made more of situations that we've had. Just typical, just kind of end the season game, which it's not for them. They still have got like a lot to play for, but it was kind of reminding me a little bit of the Southampton game on, the last game of the season, like a couple of years ago. No, last year, last game of last season.
Oh yeah.
Remember? And it was a bit mad,
Yeah.
and we conceded like 3 or 4 goals or something stupid like that. I was kind of getting vibes of that, except Villa did have something to play for. But yeah, it just the season just needs to end. It's like I need a break from these players. I'm like, I definitely need some time apart because I'm struggling to look at them at the moment. They're doing me fucking head in. And that the way they ended that game there was just so fucking sloppy and casual. And I don't care that it doesn't matter. We can't finish higher or lower than third. So what? Klopp deserves a better end than this. Now he's contributing to it himself. I get that, but he should be able to make those changes and that not happen. It was just like the equalising goal is a complete fluke. But we brought that on ourselves by the stupid goal that we give away before that, and you're putting yourselves in that situation where something freakish can happen. And then, as you said, Alisson's had to make that save to stop us from actually losing the game. So, yeah, it just needs to end. It's like I've seen enough. The weekend's going to be horrendous. It's going to be emotional. No one's going to enjoy it at all. Like, regardless we could win that game 10-0 and I wouldn't really enjoy it because all I'd be thinking is, okay, the end's coming here, the final whistle's going to come and then we're going to have to deal with all of that. So the game itself is just not going to be any fun at all. I'm not going to enjoy it. And I just want it out the way now, finished, and then let's just get to the summer and try to just forget about it.
Mm-hmm. Jules, before we came on air, you were talking a little bit about how you're struggling to really feel anything through this period, and sort of more part of a general malaise that you have with the game itself. Like, are you feeling the same sense of annoyance about that tonight, or are you more philosophical about it being sort of the end of the season and the end of the year and not much to play for, that sort of thing?
Oh no, it's still definitely annoying. And you get the sort of the sense of helplessness. You feel like you look at the players and you go, "You're all better than this, right? I thought you were all better than this. I thought we'd move. I thought we collectively as a football club, as a team, had moved past all this." I think John G like jokingly said, it's a reminder of it's like 2016 all over again. And my riposte to that was, yeah, it's like he's leaving us as he found us, which is a joke, but there are some like bad echoes of how we were prior to Klopp coming in with no control over games. You think of the Rodgers era, there was never any control over games, goals going in left or right. You'd be looking at going, why are we conceding here? What's going on? So even though I've got like a general ennui about football, it's very frustrating. The only thing is, it just doesn't manifest itself as massive irritation anymore. I sort of look at it and I sort of shake my head and I just go, for fuck's sake, and I just move on. There's nothing else I can do here. I just thought we were past all this. And you could label the players sloppy, lazy, not listening to the manager, checked out, all this kind of stuff. I mean, the answer is we don't know. We can only judge what we see on the pitch and then draw conclusions from that. It does look to me like this is a set of players now that know, whatever they think of the manager, and I assume they all have great love and admiration for him, know he's leaving, are more worried now about what's coming up the road, and are not fully concentrating anymore on what's going on. They're professional, they're playing to a professional level, but the concentration, I just don't think is there at the moment because the minds are on other things. Not just who's coming in. Some of them got off to the Euros, don't want to get injured for that, want to be playing. Am I still going to be here next year? What kind of system? All this kind of stuff. There's a million questions now, and I assume that plays into it as well. But it's just I wouldn't say it's sad. It doesn't make me sad, and I don't think I'll be that emotional about Sunday either. Like, it's because all this, the worst part of how this season is ending is it makes me sort of go, "Oh, maybe we do need a change." And if you'd have asked me that in January, I'd never have said that. And I don't really think that. I don't really think, oh, maybe we do need a change. But the way this is ending, you sort of talk yourself around and going, oh, I don't know, maybe I can't be doing with this all the time. Maybe we need something different. And there's no way on earth that something different will be as good. Like, I hope whoever the new manager is comes in and goes gangbusters. But if the new guy is gangbusters, it's only going to actually diminish what we thought of Klopp, because we think Klopp's getting like 110% out of players where you can only get 100 to get us where we are in this season. So either one of two things will happen next year. Klopp's sort of legend will diminish slightly if like the new guy comes in and gets these playing even better. And you'll sort of go, oh well, maybe he wasn't that good. Or we're going to have a massive backslide next season. It's going to be miserable because we're going to be jobbing about in 6th place. So it doesn't. None of it makes me feel very good about anything right now. He's stepping into the unknown, and I don't quite like the unknown. It's unknown. But I can't say from tonight that I get massively pissed off, angry, deflated, because as you referenced just before we came on, I've just a general malaise about football at the moment, where I don't know if it's age, or I don't know if it's just the way the more stretched out football becomes, where the rich are just incredibly rich, and it's just too much of a gap now. It's just not interesting. You could make the argument. I'll be really quick on this. You could make the argument that as Aston Villa have now gone to the Champions League and Newcastle have been in the Champions League, that the Big Six will become the Big Seven, the Big Eight, and then all of a sudden it's the Big Ten, not the college football conference. And suddenly the Premier League is competitive because there's like 10 good teams, all rich. But that isn't going to be how it plays out. It's always going to be a certain rarefied air, and the Champions League's new format is just gonna do it. The change in the profit and sustainability rules is going to do it, and it just feels like there's too much money. We've all lost sight of what's the best way for football, and at the end, Man City will win. So what's the point? So, I feel a bit. I just feel. It shouldn't be ending like this. It's a bit disappointing for Klopp. It's a bit disappointing for us. And then, as Dave says, it leaves you with this. Actually, lads, I think we all need a summer apart here, because this has just been too much. And I'll see you in a few months. Just go away, and come back in a few months, and we'll all be refreshed and renewed, and we'll start again. But right now, you just need to go away. I can't wait for the season to end. And the thing is, we lost to Palace. And that was the season over for me. I knew that was the season was over. And what game was it, Dave? Was it Fulham? Was the last time I was on? I think it was Fulham. We beat Fulham.
Yeah.
And I think you asked me, like, we beat them. Does that make me feel feeling different? It's like, no, of course it doesn't. Man City will win every game. What's the point? The only way you win the league, and Arsenal should know this, and Arsenal might win the league. There's still a couple of games left. The only way you beat Man City is by staying ahead of them. And I know that's like, but obviously you've got to be ahead of them to win the league. But you've always got to keep them at arm's length behind you. You can never, ever give them a sniff. You've always got to be, we are on the front foot. It's in our hands. Once it's out of your hands, you're fucked.
Which is
and once we lost to Palace.
Yeah.
Yeah. And once we lost to Palace, that was it. The game was over. And, I think, I can't remember if it was you, Dave. He's like, well, they could still lose. They ain't losing no fucking games.
See, I was banking on the Tottenham one, because I thought Tottenham might still have something to play for. And if we were up there with City, Spurs are not going to be asked if we win the league or City win the league. But now you're looking at that game and you're like, okay, Spurs winning that hands Arsenal the title. That is not going to happen. So weeks ago, that's not how I was looking at it. I thought that would be a tough game for them. And it still might be. I mean, professional pride and all that. You don't know. Maybe Tottenham put on a performance, but I'm not really expecting that. But that game now looks a hell of a lot easier for City than it did like 3-4 weeks ago.
Yeah. Alf Stewart reckons every Spurs fan wants to win that game. So we'll see.
Yeah, cunt.
every game that these... Like, does no one seen the last 6? Has no one been around for the last 6 years? How many times have we done this in the league? Oh well, they've got some. No one's got anything to play for, and Manchester City are very good. No one's doing it. I like, again, tomorrow night Spurs might win, and they'll go, oh, what a dick. And if that's the case, then fair play, and Arsenal will win the league. But as I say, our season ended when we lost. Our season ended when we lost to United in the cup, because we've never recovered from it. And we had a chance to sort of put that out of our system when we went down the league. We didn't do that, and then that was it. We've always been playing catch up since then, mentally, psychologically with the players. That's been the problem. And then we lost to Palace, and that was definitely it. Losing to Everton, they can sing "You lost the league at Goodison Park," it did not happen there.
Yeah.
And like Istanbul, they say, you capitulated and you lost against Palace. No, we'd already lost. We'd already lost to Chelsea. The league was gone at that point as well. Like, when you know, and we've had years and years of this. Yeah. And now Arsenal are getting a good taste of it. So, hey, you know what? Maybe just dropping 2 goals late on to Villa in a meaningless game, it's a bit easier to digest than watching Manchester City relentlessly march to the league. So, there you go. Maybe they put a positive spin on it.
Dave, I just want to pick up on something that Jules said about whether it's time for a change or not. And obviously a fully energetic and sprightly and well-rested manager, you're not saying that, are you? But the way it is unfolding now with him, it's very evident that he needs to leave, and the way it's reflecting in performances suggests that it is the right time for a change for those reasons. Like, not because our performance has been downturned because he's lost his touch or whatever. It's just time for him to go for his own benefit, really. It's time.
It's definitely time. He was right. The only thing he was wrong about was when he said he still had enough to get through this season, because he didn't.
He's not going to say anything else, though, is he?
No, but he's not going to say anything else. But clearly he didn't. He's not been the same for months. You can say that's because results have gone badly or whatever, but it's chicken and the egg, isn't it? It's like, if results gone badly because of the way the players can feel it, he's not got the same intensity that he had, because they're not playing with the same intensity, and like the desire to do it for Klopp. I don't question that. I do think that it was the pressure of that. They just couldn't cope with it, and they got in their own heads, and that's what's caused all of this. But I said on the last pod, I would never ever have said it's time for a change or anything. And if he was capable of carrying on the way he has been, I wouldn't be saying it's time for a change now. But it clearly is. It can't. It's not going to carry on like this because he's made up his mind that he's going to go. But it couldn't carry on like this anyway, in terms of every single fucking game we play is like a fucking battle. It's like there's just no easy games for us. Nothing's ever comfortable, even when you think it is. Like last week, you're 4-0 up, and it still ends up like a proper fucking war. And, tonight, another one, it's like you're 3-1 up and coasting, and you end up hanging on. And this shit doesn't happen to City and Arsenal. They have like a lot less like stressful games than we have. Like, it feels like more or less every game we've played this season, I'm sure it hasn't, but it feels like that. It's like every game has like gone right down to the wire. Even games where we may have won by 2 goals, we've got the second one late on, and it just, I don't know. I think it's, we need
Is
more.
anything more evident than the Sheffield United home game where I'm not naming names, people were thinking we could rack up goal difference there, and we didn't.
No, but that's
that's
but
indicative of it, isn't it?
Arsenal did.
No, I know, but I'm agreeing with you.
Yeah.
That's indicative, right?
It is. 15 minutes to go, that game was level. They needed McAllister fucking lashing one in. That's
goal of the month.
It shouldn't need that. In fact, we should not be in that situation, but we are. Like every game, we're in that situation.
Why do you think that is, Dave?
But there's just no control. It's just too fucking mad. Like, we're missing chances at one end, and then we're giving stupid goals away at the other. We're falling behind so many times. I mean, we went on and on about we're not clinical enough, and that's the problem and all that. And yeah, that was a big problem. But we've had 1 clean sheet in 15 games, and that was Atalanta away, which should not even count, because we were already 3-0 down. They were not trying to score in that game.
And they're Italian.
Yeah, so disregard that game. We've had no clean sheets in the last 14 games. And I think we've conceded 17 in the last 10 or something like that. So for all the talk about, like, not clinical, and the forwards are the problem. I mean, I think tonight, I think we've just with the 3 goals we've scored tonight, I think that makes this the second highest scoring season in club history.
Wow.
But we're conceding a shitload of goals. It's like on the sly, like people are kind of overlooking the fact that we concede too many, and it's not because we've got like bad players. Like we've got some great defenders. It's not about individual players.
Is it the midfield?
Well, I mean, like if you look at tonight, the key goals, like the second one, it's a mistake by McAllister. But to me, yeah, McAllister's made a mistake there and the goal's on him, but I would also be questioning, what the fuck were we doing playing that pass into him in that situation when they were like desperate and pressing forward? Why are we doing that? Bypass that, go over it. Don't be doing that. Go over them. And then if you do lose it, you've got enough players back. But we're playing that ball into his feet there when that's what they wanted us to do. And yeah, he's made a mistake, but even if he didn't make a mistake, he was still in a tricky situation there where he was going to have to play probably a relatively difficult ball to somebody to get himself out of it. And it's just things like that, like game management's not good. I think that the whole, just like and this has been great, like the mad football that we play, everything's just chaotic and mad, and it's been a really wild ride, and we've enjoyed it. It's been fantastic. I wouldn't change any of it, but at the same time, I do think now it's like, the game's changed slightly now. Like if you look at Arteta's like looked at certain things and he's gone, okay, how can we bridge that gap now? And 2 things that they've done. One, they've just tightened it up at the back massively, and 2, maybe they're stretching the rules a little bit on set pieces, but they're not getting penalised for it. All the blocking on set pieces and standing in front of the goalkeeper, stuff like that. They score shitloads of goals from corners and set pieces, which is like, it's a cheap win. If you can do that, you're going to get like a lot of cheap points in tight games. So they've done that, and like they've just become rock solid at the back, and that's not us. Now maybe it needs to be. Like Man City are just fucking boring. I've never watched their games. It's so boring. But once they go in front, that's it. Like they go a goal ahead, it's game over, because they've got control and they don't give up stupid chances and daft goals like we're giving away.
Are you telling me you're Team Mourinho now, Dave?
No, I'm not saying that. But even like
available this summer.
But I don't think the way we're playing. I just think it's everything's just too much in the balance. Like you can make an argument this season, and people have. I think Stu said it on the pod. Somebody else has maybe said that, like, we're a few disgusting refereeing decisions away from being right in this, and that's true, but we're also a few last minute winners away from being well out of it. So it goes either way. I feel like I'm looking at it and going, we are where we should be. As it's gone on, our flaws have come to the fore a little bit more, and Arsenal and City have just been churning out wins, and we've fallen by the wayside because of the flaws in front of goal and at the back, and it's cost us. And it's like, well, how do you fix that? And like everything that you read about Arne Slot is like his style's kind of a hybrid between Guardiola and Klopp. And then there's bits of other things in there. It's like he's just taken attributes from loads of different teams and he's sort of moulded them together. And one of the aspects of it is more control than what we've got. But then you also read that they've conceded first even more times than we have. And it's like, no, that's not going to be good. We need to get away from that. But we definitely do need to be a little bit less manic and a bit more controlled, just to make it easier for ourselves, because we're just conceding stupid goals. So we're having to chase games. And then in the games when we actually are in front, we're then conceding stupid goals anyway and hanging on. It's like, if you go back throughout the season, and 8 games to go, we're top. It's in our hands. But if you actually look at like how we got there, we've had more late goals than anybody else. So, yeah, that, on the one hand, that's great. It shows, like, never say die. But it's also something that you think, that unless you buy a Leverkusen, that's going to catch up with you eventually. Like, they seem to just keep scoring late goals every single week, pulling it out the fire. But generally speaking, it will catch up with you. You can't keep doing that. And instead of that just being something nice that we had in our locker from time to time when it was needed, we ended up like having to rely on that, and it caught up with us.
Title winning season was something that when we had it nice in our locker, wasn't it? Like the Villa away. Yeah. Well, this game 3 years ago, 4 years ago, whatever it is now, 5 years ago, right? Is it 5?
Yeah, but we had a lot more control that season. You know, we weren't blowing teams away like we had in previous years where we were scoring 4 and 5 in games, but we were going like 1-0 up, and then maybe we'd get the second with 10 minutes to go. But it was always fairly like comfortable and controlled, and there was a maturity about that team which had come from what they'd been through together, and you know they were ready. And you look at us now and you're like, no, we were just not ready. There's too many players in this team were just not ready for the situation that they found themselves in after 30 games. Yeah. They couldn't handle it. And even like experienced, seasoned professionals who've been there and done it for us before, you know, I'd probably give Virgil a pass for the most part. Robbo largely as well. I don't think Robbo was bad, just some of his crossing wasn't the best, but
Gomez.
Yeah, so they've been all right, but then you're looking at like Trent. Okay, he's come back from injury, so he's got an excuse there. But some of what we're seeing from him is frustrating. If I'm being kind, you know, some people would go further than that. Mo is just not like I thought he was shit again tonight. To be honest, I thought last week he looked like okay, he's back to what he was earlier in the season. Some of the things he was doing tonight, not all of it. I mean, to be fair, like on the second goal, he's played a lovely ball out about to Diaz, and he's done some things in that, but it's so frustrating. Like the offside one when he put it over from like a couple of yards out, and it's like, yeah, it's a good job that was offside because you wouldn't want to be seeing that again. Like, but
it's almost as if that performance we saw from him last week though was just like a clap back against the criticism from the row. That he
needed a performance, didn't he?
Yeah.
Tonight he didn't necessarily need a performance, and he didn't really give it. But I don't want to single him out. He's not the reason why we blew that like 3-1 lead. But yeah, it's just the way the last couple of months have gone. You can see we're not ready for it, and there's question marks now over loads of players. Now there's two ways that can go. It's like a new manager can come in and look at all the good things that they've done and say there's plenty to work with there, and the next time they're in that situation they can look back to the experience of being there before and learning from it, which Arsenal have done that. Arsenal's probably still going to come up short this year, but if you look at the run that they've been on, other than losing at home to Villa, which can always happen, Villa's 4th in the league. It's not like it's some freak upset result. But generally speaking, you look at what they've done since the turn of the year and compare it to last year when they'd never been in that situation, and it caught up with them. They didn't know how to deal with it. They started like dropping points and panicking because they knew City was right there. They've stayed with City or like right up until now. You know, they're getting the results. So they've learned from last year and they're stronger for it. They've handled it better, but they're still probably going to come up short because they're up against Man City. But like, just going back to us, it's like, well, what happens if we get into this situation again? You'd like to think they can lean on what happened this year and make sure that doesn't happen again. Or they might just not have it. You know, they might just be not able to handle the pressure. But we don't know either way. It's just something that like you find out over time. But we've got to get in that situation to find out.
Yeah. I just think right now there's too many question marks about so many members of the squad to be able to class it as not being ready. I'm not sure, like you said, I'm not sure they'll ever be. Some of these lads will ever be ready. They haven't shown enough in the since Christmas really to convince me that they're good enough, a lot of them, to be title winning Liverpool players.
I get that, think? But just a quick point on that is like after 30 games we were top. It was in our hands, so that's like 3/4 of the season. So to say they're not good enough because of how it's ended, I don't know. That's like disregarding the good stuff to get in that position. So there's
Yeah,
two
but you
ways of
just
looking
sort
at
of
that.
spoke about all of the
I know.
mitigating circumstances that it had taken for us to.
Yeah,
It was a false position in the first place.
not necessarily a false position, but what I could also say is look at everything that they overcame to be in that position, or like ridiculous amount of injuries, the worst refereeing decisions like you'll ever see that have cost us points. So we've dealt with all of that and come through it and got ourselves into that position. Like, so questioning the mentality is fair after what's happened the last few months, but it was the mentality that got them there, like to overcome all like the obstacles that were put in the path. You know, we've won a cup final with kids like on the pitch. I mean, it's still mad to when you look at the lineup in extra time against Chelsea. We won that game, and it was the captain that's like, you know, gone up and won it after having a goal disallowed as well. So like the mentality was there until it wasn't. So you can look at it too. I'm not even saying you're wrong to question and say whether they haven't got it. They might not be good enough. They might not have the right mentality. I don't know. But I just think you can make a case either way. And you can't really just disregard everything that happened to get us into the position to blow it.
Jules, what do you think?
You ma- you both make good points. I'm not really sure I can come down on anyone's side because again, no one really knows, do you? And it's such again, as I said earlier, it's such an unknown about what's going to be next season. I don't think there are definitely question marks over the players now, some of the players. But again, I don't know whether that's because as it fell apart, what else happened behind the scenes that that like are they not as asked? Are the coaching staff not as asked? Is it all a bit of end of term feel? I just don't know. I don't even know like where we would address signings in the summer. Um, and Dave makes a really good point that we keep like, you know, we all blame the forwards for not scoring goals, but like take tonight. So you go away to the fourth place team in the league and you score 3 goals. If you said that Manchester City or Arsenal went away and scored 3 goals, you'd know they'd won, and we're not winning. So therein lies the problem. We score goals but we're not keeping them out the other end. So ergo you go, all right, well we need a new defender. But then when you break down the individual defenders in the back four, who's played? But you go. Well, who's played really badly? Like, you know, you've already said Verge's had a decent season. Kwanzaa's come in and done well. Gomez has always played well when he's deputised. Robertson, you know, he's been out with injury, but he's been generally the same Robbo. Trent, okay, there's a little question marks over Trent's defensive ability.
Bradley.
So maybe, but you've got Bradley who came through. So suddenly you go, all right,
Why
in a
didn't we
second.
see him tonight, do you think? Sorry, Jules. We'll come back to that. Continue. Go ahead.
Yeah. So you break it down all individually. You go, well, they seem all right. So why are we conceding these goals? And then I get Dave's point about like, well, all the we obviously the late winners. It's not so much. I agree that they were a thing to the late winners should be a thing to have in your back pocket that you need. They shouldn't be your identity.
Yeah.
Because when they're your identity, like people might now be listening to this and go, well, everyone still talks about 30 years later Fergie time. But they didn't actually score like, you know, they've scored famous ones in the European Cup and the extra time and, you know, the treble season. But really, they were in control for most games. Those happened occasionally over a span of 15 years. They didn't happen constantly in the same season, like constantly, one after another, you know. And that's the problem. That if the team's identity is flying by the seat of your pants and consistently getting away with it, at some point it'll catch up with you, and maybe it just caught you couldn't catch. Maybe, and it did catch up with us in the ultimate way because we lost very late on in extra time away from home in the cup. Maybe that was like the ultimate. This is now going to bite you in the arse. You can't keep doing this. Mm-hmm. Here's the ultimate. Fuck you. You're going to lose to your most hated rivals and knock yourselves out of the cup. I don't know. The only thing I think when it comes to sort of add into the squad is I definitely feel like there needs to be some more pace. I definitely feel like we're not as quick as we used to be. Zipping around the pitch on attacking or even coming back
Pace
to
out
cover.
wide
Yeah,
in the front three.
yeah. Even when we talk about McAllister being put in the position tonight for the second Villa goal, where it's not a ball to play. But then, is there a great outlet? Like, Dave's always constantly saying, high line, bring Nunez on or whatever, because it's the pace, right? It's the pace more than the player itself. The tantalizing prospect of someone putting the afterburners on over the top and just bombing away.
Someone who wants to run in behind instead of coming
Yeah.
short to feet.
And we don't just have that outlet anymore. And it sort of happened in the season before. The season before last, I can't remember what year it is. It's the other failed quadruple season
Yeah.
where we sort of like brought Thiago in and was like, we're going to play with a bit more control and all this kind of stuff. But there was like the start of the change in how Mane and Firmino were starting to be phased out, and it was the change that was the start of the change of the identity from the really, really fast, quick counter-attacking, could break you easily Liverpool to this sort of more controlled. We were going to be more controlled. We're going to have more control. But then we didn't until last season and this season. We didn't have more control. So I don't know whether it is like midfield personnel. Maybe the players we've signed, the players we've got, don't give us enough of the control that we need to be able to play that game. So maybe it's better to just go back to being fast as fuck, and we'll race you to the goal and see what happens. But even if you're attacking and you have to drop back into a defensive shape, someone who's quick as fuck getting back is going to be a better thing than someone plodding back. I mean, I just don't know what the answer is. It's because I feel like I always feel like you need new faces in the summer to freshen it up. But I'm not sure because we're saying this. I'm saying this question marks. You're saying this question marks over players, and I do agree. But then when you look at them individually, who am I really going to be thinking of selling? Like Szoboszlai hasn't set the world on fire, but it's his first season.
I'm not looking to sell anyone.
No, but this is
I'd
when you
bring
say
in two, but I wouldn't be selling anyone.
But like if you bring in to replace some of these players are going to be wanting to move because they're not going to be playing. Like the squad's already quite big, barring the fact that everyone gets injured all the time.
Let that play out though. Don't make that decision now. Let it shake out who's playing, who's not, and then deal with that.
Part
Everyone's
of me
got a
goes,
clean
I'm not
slate
sure.
now, Jules. The new manager's coming in, and everyone's got a clean slate. So, and they're all talented players. So I just want to see how they fit into what we're doing.
Can I be controversial? I'm going to say that not everyone does have a clean slate, and there will be players marked for the attention of the manager. We need to talk about this player, this player, this player.
But the manager still has to make that decision, though, surely.
The head coach.
Not maybe,
yeah, head coach.
But again, we don't know. The hierarchy is completely changed, and we don't know. Like the new manager does not have the hand, doesn't have the upper hand here. He's only on even keel. A lot of these, Edwards, Ward are all back. They know the club a bit more, and they might be saying, "We need to talk. We think that we can get a fee for this player, move them on. Do you have an objection?" I don't know. Again, I'm playing devil's advocate more than anything, but I don't think they all start with a clean slate. I think there may be a sit down conversation of like, listen, what do you need to really sell us why you want to keep. Let's use a player in the last year of their contracts. And Salah's probably a good example because he's older. He's in the last year of his contract. You need to sell us why we shouldn't start shopping him because we think we should start shopping him while we still can, unless you object. Because let's not forget, one of the reasons that the schism happened with Klopp and Edwards was Jordan Henderson, where it was going to be, actually, I don't think we should do this. I think we should probably look to maybe cash in or let it play out. And Klopp was like, no. It's like, yeah, I get you think no, but here's why it makes sense to do what I think. No. Right, okay, well, you've got more hand. A new guy's not going to have more hand. Not going to have it. So, I wouldn't say with 100% certainty or even 50% certainty that everyone's starting with a clean slate. I think judgments will be made, and I don't know that anyone will be sold because in theory it doesn't make any sense to sell anyone because. But do you? I mean, I suppose you have to believe, right, that the new guy's going to get something out of the players that Jurgen Klopp didn't. But then you're thinking, well, that was Jurgen Klopp.
And
Like,
he was getting something out of them all until
yeah,
it was
until he
clear he was
wasn't. But
going, and
yeah,
then,
yeah,
as you say, maybe it had like the end of term feel. Maybe
yeah,
we don't know what was going on behind the scenes, but he was getting something out of those players until
yeah,
he said, "Oh, I'm going," and then that's when, not straight away, but eventually, like it changed. But no, I just on that, I take your point about like the players with the contract issues. That's a different matter in terms of with Slot coming in. He's not going to have any say really on those players. Like if anything like that, where it's an expiring contract, and if the club decide we're not giving that player a contract because he wants too much money or whatever, or he's too old, we don't think he's worth it. All those decisions, that's not his remit. He should not be really involved in those discussions, having just walked through the door. Bit different when he's worked with the players for several years or whatever. So the expiring contracts, that's a different matter than players like, say like the ones who signed last summer, maybe some, or even the summer before, or Gakpo was mid-season. Anyone who's come in like the last 2-3 years, whatever, I think Slot needs to be able to look at them in pre-season, start of the season, decide who he wants to work with, who doesn't fit, whatever, and then start making like transfer decisions down the line on those players. I
Yeah,
wouldn't be
it'd be a
getting rid
bit
of
late
people.
though once he's done that, won't it? Once everybody's back from the international tournaments, in terms of getting us set for the start of the next season, like you're not really going to be selling that many players in pre-season and
No, I
picking
wouldn't
up
sell them
other
in
ones.
pre-season.
So you wait until January,
Yeah, it'd have to be at the
or
start of the season and then January or the following summer.
I don't know. It
He
just
needs
sets
time
us
to
back
work
in
with them
terms
and
of.
see who fits and like who he likes, who he doesn't like, and he's not going to really know that fully just from
Look,
pre-season. I think it needs
if
time.
if we're looking at what our ultimate aim is here, and that's to win the title, like you look what it
What, next
took
year?
us. No, just in general. Like you look what it took Liverpool to win that title in 2020. It took like fresh off winning the European Cup. It took fresh off a 97-point season. It took like our manager at his most intense, aggressive, determined best. It took our best ever set of players. And I think if you look at our team now, our best 11 now, of the players that have replaced the ones that have left, and of the ones that are all the ones that are remained are diminished compared to what they were 4 years ago, and the ones that we've signed to replace the ones who've left aren't as good. So we're nowhere near like scaling those heights again. So I just think you have to make some tough decisions about without necessarily having that play out over time. Like you have to be a little bit more deliberate about it and take a few risks and not necessarily, well, he deserves, like Nunez, for example, he deserves another year, or Diaz, the new manager might get a bit more out of him. Like, I just think you have to make some tough decisions and let the manager go and sign some players who he fancies, rather than taking fucking 2 years to assess the squad that he inherits.
Well, the counterpoint to that is if you look at, well, I'll use Leverkusen as an example then. Like, you look at what they're doing now, it's not because they've got all these amazing players. So if you look at, like, when Alonso went there, nobody will have been looking at those players and going, oh, these players are great, we don't really need to do much. But coaching has got them to the level that they're at. Coaching, tactics. If you've got a coach who's, like, better than everybody who he's coming up against, those players are going to look so much better than they looked before. So
We've got a coach who's better than everybody.
and we were
who's
top
come
of the
up
league
against.
up until the point when like things went wrong, but he'd already said he was leaving. So do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like
No, I know. I see what you mean.
I
So
feel
you're
like
looking at the top of the league position through rose-tinted specs,
no,
as if it was
but
all.
but it's a fact. Wherever you say
Right.
it's a fact that after 30 games that our destiny was in our own hands. We were top of the league despite having to overcome like a lot of shit throughout the season. So, and at that point, our view of these players is completely different to the view that we've got of them now after it's all turned to shit. But if a new manager comes in or new head coach comes in and his tactics like bring more out of those players, and suddenly, you know, maybe there'll be like a few different roles for some players. They might not be playing in the same position they're playing in now. Things can change around, and all of a sudden they look much better. So that's, I feel like the way the game's gone now, the most important thing more than anything now is coaching. If you've got like a shit hot coach, you don't necessarily need to have the best player in every position. And Leverkusen's just like the perfect example of that. You know, some of the players that they've got in that team, Granit Xhaka, I mean, he was a bit of a laughing stock at Arsenal. You know, they've got a lad from fucking, he got relegated with Southampton. He's getting games. It's not always about, like, it used to just be about teams who've got the best players is just going to win. I don't necessarily think it's as straightforward as that anymore. So much of it comes down to like tactics, because the game's moved on so much now with like the analysis and like coaching and teams doing different stuff to counter the opposition and making it difficult for you. If you've got like a coach that is like shit hot, all of these players who've got question marks, some of them will still fall by the wayside and won't be good enough, but there'll be some who'll surprise you and they'll be like, oh fucking hell, look at him now, he's really come on. So we don't know any of this. That's what I'm saying, is like, I wouldn't be writing any of them off until the new managers had a look at them and coach them up, see who fits into what he wants to do and who doesn't, and then take it from there. But we do need to get players in, obviously, but I don't think there's going to be like a summer where we go and buy like 6 or 7 players. I think it's more likely to be 2, maybe 3 at most.
What do you reckon, Jules? Is he just trying to buy time for his boy Darwin here?
The stat nerds will fucking love Darwin.
I you know what? It's been a long season. I haven't got the energy to discuss the pros and cons of Darwin Núñez. Let's just say... Go on. No,
all this time, Dave was like, oh, Darwin's going to fucking fill his boots against these. And like, he wouldn't,
not from a bench.
if he wasn't a field, he would have been offside anyway.
No.
All those balls over the top, he'd been offside. Every
yeah, but okay, let's talk about the offside thing, because the offside rule is changing. And most of these ones, like last week, the Tottenham goal, when he set up Mo, under the new rules, that's onside. Tonight's one, that's onside. Because
so
it's
saying
like
they're dumbing down the offside rule for idiots who can't stay onside.
No, but it's just they're getting rid of all of this bullshit offside by a toenail.
Yeah,
That's all going. So the whole of your body has got to be clear of the last defender now.
I'm hoping it's because they're sick of dicking around looking for pixel perfect images.
Because it's just shit, isn't it? Like that
yeah,
tonight was a fucking joke.
There were too many VAR checks tonight. But you know, that's back what we've been saying for, like, go with the on-field decision. They aren't, they're changing it, so at least there's that.
It'll make it a lot quicker.
Yeah, and they'll be semi-automated as well. Yeah. But talking about the offside king, I've really, like, he has exhausted my patience many times. I desperately want him to be good, but I apply what I know as the Smeetser rule, which is, after a couple of years, this is the player you've got. They're not going to change. This is it. You always go, a new country, got to adjust, all that stuff. I've had it. No. This is probably the ceiling for him. Maybe he'll score a couple more goals next season because of the mad XG stuff that will even itself out, and I do believe that will probably even itself out, because it's a mathematical equation applied to a sport. So mathematical equations on stats and that kind of stuff usually will revert to their mean. But this is who he is, so I really don't think it's ever going to change now. And I just, you know, Dave's continuous boosterism of him is both endearing and exhausting, and I really.
I don't think it needs to change. I just think it needs to improve a little bit, but not change. He's just got to, like, stop missing the fucking one-on-ones. The offside thing's going to sort itself out with the new rule, so I'm not bothered about that. Can we bring in a rule that just removes goalkeepers? No, change the rule to just get rid of goalkeepers and we're sound, and maybe widen the posts by a few inches either side.
Are you saying Darwin should be playing five-a-side rush keeper, and maybe he'd be like filling his boots as you
Imagine how many he'd
prophesied?
score with no keeper, because he always hits the target, unless you count him bar and post. But if you just make that slightly
Shit, imagine
bigger,
how many Joe Gomez would score with no keeper. Honestly,
you know the goal tonight, on like first view, I was fucking steaming about it because I thought Gakpo had nicked it from him. I thought it was going in, and then you watch like, oh no, it's not going to go in. It was going like just wide. The keeper had got a hand, but I thought it was still going in that corner, and Gakpo had ran in and took it off him. I was like, initially I was going mad about it.
You can subscribe to the Liverpool Way podcast on all the major platforms, whether it's Apple, Google, Spotify, Amazon or Podbean. Just search for the Liverpool Way, leave us a review and hit subscribe to automatically receive all new episodes. You can also head to liverpoolway.co.uk and grab a TLW season ticket for just £3 a month. There's tons of exclusive content, including match reports from every Liverpool game, weekly Premier League roundups, the TLW diary and access to the members-only forum. Lastly, you can follow us on social media at The Liverpool Way on Twitter and at The Liverpool Way TLW on Instagram and Facebook.
What do you reckon he thinks when he sees, like, I know he doesn't go up for corners very often, but what do you reckon he thinks when he sees like Kwanzaa rising like a salmon? And you know what I liked about that goal? It hit the post, and I thought that'd have been great on the opening titles of Grandstand when they used to go dum. They'd have put that on at that point, and that'd have been amazing. Because I used to, like they'd have some motorcyclist, some MotoGP fella going into some haystacks. Can't do that now. No one's allowed to laugh at that stuff. Or you'd have a ball on a snooker table go boom, and I just looked at it as soon as they showed it from the one angle and it hit the post to win it. I thought Grandstand, that would be great at the start of Grandstand. Why isn't that a thing anymore? You know what? I just go really quickly. I don't understand why the BBC have final score, right? They have final score. What's the point? Just call it Grandstand and bring the music back so we can all listen to the music. And then you can like have a bit of other scores, whatever the fuck's going on in the world of sport that day. Just have it back as a pure result service and call it Grandstand so we can have that boss music back and everyone can enjoy life. Final score. No one gives a shit about final score.
No, but everyone loves a bit of nostalgia.
Yeah, but the Grandstand music. But yeah, that was a great goal. But what do you reckon Joe Gomez thinks when he sees Kwanzaa? He's like, fucking hell.
Yeah, I suppose he's not great in the air, is he, Gomez? He's a little bit shorter. So.
Here's what I'm saying right now. If there's a penalty on Sunday and Gomez is playing, if he wants it, he should have it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, my prediction of the shoot thing dying off by October is still on.
Yeah. Well, I would like that to happen anyway. If we're not taking games seriously anymore, which we didn't tonight, like we might as well like allow Gomez to take the penalty.
Can we let Klopp take it? He registered himself as a player. We've got 9 subs.
Yeah.
Better than having 2 goalkeepers, right?
Yeah. Imagine like we get a sub and like he just does like the Johnny Aldridge against Palace. Just brings himself on. Takes the pen, all his kit into the cop, everything runs off in a little pair of fucking white budgie smugglers.
They're like a pair of like German bloomers. All this time he's been sporting them. Oh man.
Kwanzaa's header though, the thing I like best about it was it starts off outside the post and it swerves back in. I love a header with a bit of swerve on it. Yeah. Class them.
I thought he played pretty well tonight up until I don't think he really did that much wrong during the capitulation, but I thought he handled Watkins really well.
Apart from the goal, like the first
he wasn't
goal.
Great for their first goal, was he?
Other than that, I thought he had a really good game.
Yeah. And
you know what?
His range passing was great. And the header, obviously.
You know what? No, sorry. I'm just. Here's a thought. You say like he had a really good game, apart from the goal, but his defender like. Can you excuse someone for going apart from the goal?
I think you can when he scores at the other end to cancel it out.
But the game in the league at Old Trafford, like, he had a really good game, apart from that goal. But that was a really crucial part of the game, and we like took all momentum off us. Yeah. So does that not? Do you not go? Yeah, you were all right, mate, but you were you were actually really shit because you made a really big mistake at a really crucial point. So yeah, you were good, but you weren't really. It's a funny thing, isn't it, with defenders?
Yeah, if you're 21 in your first season, you'll get leeway. If he's doing that when he's 24, yeah, different story, isn't it?
You know, and don't get me wrong, I don't actually think that, but it is funny how we sort of go, yeah, it was good, apart from the goal.
Yeah.
You know, it's like the old Seinfeld. Not that there's anything wrong with that. You know, it's just like, yeah, it was good, apart from the goal. Oh yeah, you know, the actual. There's not many goals knocking around in football, so he was responsible for it. But
Like a striker being good apart from the sitter.
well, yeah, it's like your Darwin defence. He's good, apart from the lack of goals. It's the other way around, right? He was good. I mean, he wears the number 9. He's meant to score a lot of goals. He doesn't, but you wait till they make the offside, the ladybug bird of offsides, and then he'll be great, because it's impossible to be offside.
No, I just think like people would look at it differently apart from the fee. You know, that's some people are always going to focus on the fact he's the most expensive player that we've bought. And
Do you know what? I don't even know how much he cost. How much did he cost? I can't remember.
With the add-ons, it'll come to 85. I think.
Fucking hell!
But I don't know like what add-ons are still.
I just want to revise my opinion. I didn't think
he
he cost that much. I thought he cost like 55 or something.
No,
so
60 something, and then
shit twat.
rising
He is
to
a shit
85.
twat. I'm with Chris. What a useless bastard.
But no one knows
Without the
what
fee,
the add-ons
he's-
are, do they? So
Without the fees, Nicholas Jackson. He's just a really expensive Nicholas Jackson.
but Nicholas Jackson's he's raw, but like you can see there's something there with him as well. He's,
No, I think he's the worst striker I've ever seen play for a top 6 club.
he's not
I bet I know they're not
he's
top
come
6,
on,
but like
he's doing all right. Unless are you talking about Darwin or Nicholas Jackson?
Nicholas Jackson. He's like Jason Lee vibes about him.
Do you know what? I just wondered, like, but people don't understand this. Like, we have to be subjected to Dave constantly saying Darwin should come on. You take so and so off for Darwin, and he comes on and constantly disappoints. How'd you get yourself going each game, Dave? To like Darwin for this, Darwin, when he constantly lets you down.
Constantly disappoint. I don't agree with that. I didn't think he disappointed tonight. I think there was like a lot of things went wrong tonight, but I'm not like pointing the finger at him.
No, I don't think he was responsible for us losing. Apart from he, could have stayed on side once or twice. But I mean, like, that joking aside, I don't think he was. But like, I'm just wondering how you like constantly get yourself back up for Darwin's going to score against these, and then Darwin doesn't score against these.
Because I can see the whole of the moon.
Oh, moon.
I can also see
moon.
that there's been a total eclipse recently, but I still know that it's behind there. Do you know what I mean? Just because you can't see it right now, I know it's still there.
Yeah, I'm not.
That's okay. You don't have to have faith. It's fine. I've got enough faith for everyone, so it's not a
All
problem.
right, George Michael.
You're welcome.
Being called far worse things than that, I tell you.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
He's going to be dining out on that for the next fucking... That'll be a summer sorted, Jules, for you.
No, that's right. I'll bring it back down to earth with the other thing I called him, which I won't put on you.
No, you can fuck off with that. That was like the worst day of my life.
You gotta say now.
We've said it before. He fucking called me Martin Samuel, didn't he? I had a little bit of a beard going on. Never ever grown a beard since then, by the way. Totally.
It is
traumatised
different
me.
now, though. You'd look alright now. You've got a different haircut.
But it
the-
was we lost the Champions League, but that wasn't even the worst part of my day. It was the fucking Martin Samuel thing.
Well, you'd gone from getting the Marcelo Salas shouts to like Martin Samuel. Yeah, it's quite the come down.
It was. It still stings even now.
Oh, man.
Well, again, it was the
From
haircut.
Milan
It wasn't
to-
the beard.
Well,
So
no more beards for Dave.
Hurtful.
So do we want to talk about anything else from the game tonight? Like, there's not really much really to
Wait.
go over.
I mean, you can talk about the goals if you want, because there were 6 of them. But again, we start off by saying, what did this game really mean to us? And that, in terms of the players themselves, we're in third, we can't come out of third, we can't really do anything. It's more of a pride thing. But again, the way the season's ending, it's just like the ultimate. What's it? Damn squib, isn't it? Damn squid.
Mm-hmm. Damn squid.
Damn squid. It is difficult to sort of. Is it worth analyze? I mean, it's good. It's good for the the coaching staff probably aren't even analysing this game, right? Because what's the point?
Yeah.
So is it worth analysing the game? I mean, it was enjoyable seeing Martinez fuck up at the start
Yeah,
there.
prick.
I get why Villa fans sing it because Argentina won the World Cup, but come on, be realistic. He's not even the second or third best goalkeeper in the Premier League. You know, the world's number one. Shut the fuck up. Also, why is it that like so many fucking shit football clubs use that Hi Ho Silver Lining song? Like, there's too many of you using it. It's not that good. It's not a good song, and there's too many. Like Wolves and
He
Villa
stole
using
it from Wolves, didn't he, though?
Oh, you're right next to each other. What are you
It's not
doing?
acceptable stealing it from like a local rival.
But no, I fully enjoyed Martinez fucking up. I fully enjoyed shutting the crowd up, and I don't get the sort of when Villa Park gets going, it's so loud. Like since when?
Yeah, that
They
was
stole that Ale song. Where'd you get that one from, Aston Villa? Right? You know, you're out there singing the poverty chants and all that stuff. Well, you took that song only became prominent in England because of one team, and it wasn't it wasn't you. But they're out there singing and they go, "Oh, Aston Villa's dead loud." It's like Aston Villa's not fucking loud. It's never been fucking loud. It's
No.
not a bear pit. It's not a cauldron. That's what a ridiculous thing to say. Everyone just paying. I know it's lip service because you're selling the product, but again, how stupid was it? But again, thoroughly enjoyed taking the lead, then taking the lead again and silencing them.
yeah.
Yeah, but again, I suppose
for
they're the
long.
last laugh. Yeah, well, they're the last laugh, I suppose.
But that whole
Um,
like great atmosphere at Villa Park thing, do you know what that reminds me of? The West Ham playing at the bowling ground.
Oh, the last season
And
of
it's
the
like,
bowling ground.
since when?
Yeah.
No one's
Yeah.
ever said that before. Where the fuck's that come from? It's Upton Park. And they just started calling it that in the last year. And
Yeah.
now we're being subjected to the great atmosphere at Villa Park. As you said, I'd never heard people talking about Villa Park as this amazing atmosphere. Gary Neville saying it was his favourite ground to play at. Like, no, it wasn't.
Yeah, of course it was. They
it
always
was, yeah.
won there.
Yeah.
They lost once there. And the only time they lost once there, it's like the era-defining loss for them because Alan Hansen said you don't win anything with kids. And then they did win a shitload with kids. So, of course he loves it there. I wondered, the Premier League, do they send other sports do they send like a press pack at the start of the season with like different things about different rule changes, the club's information, stats, that kind of stuff. Do you reckon for West Ham's last season, the Premier League put in, call it the bowling ground this year? Give it that little bit extra special call because it just came out of nowhere, and it's like that's got to have been a PR push from the Premier League or West Ham to say, call it the bowling ground. But all he did was you brought knobheads out of black taxis on the pitch and went on for hours and was stupid.
That was amazing. That
It was amazing. It was a great night, to be honest.
Black Cab comes on the pitch. It's like, who's getting out of this? Oh, it's Trevor Morley. Let's go to some legends in the stands. It's Marlon Harewood and Carlton Cole. And like the sad thing is, they are actual legends as well. It's like, oh my god, like it just brings you home, doesn't it? Like how lucky we are.
I was listening to the Totally Football show the other day, and they have the quiz thing at the end, and I was quite impressed with myself with how many questions I got right. But there was like, which Premier League player is the top scorer for two different Premier League clubs, and I got it instantly. Instantly, it wasn't a problem for me.
I don't know. I was going to say Andy Cole, but it's not.
No, I thought, oh, that's going to be Shearer because he
Shearer,
played
yeah.
for Newcastle and Blackburn, and they're both shit and they haven't got massive players playing for them. It'll be him, and it was, and I was like, of course it is. Who else would it be? And it's the same goes for West Ham. You're like, of course you shit. You have no players. This is who you are, and it's the same for Aston Villa. Like fucking Juan Pablo Angel's probably in their top 10 Premier League goal scorers. You know,
Great hair though.
great hair. It was great hair. I mean, top 20 Premier League hair. I think
Yeah.
wore the shit out of it. Like, much respect for that. You probably would have loved it actually with Dave, right? Because like you had the hair, you had the shit goal scoring records, everything you look for in a striker these
Did
days.
he have a shit goal scoring record? I thought he did all right for them.
No, of course he was shit. No, he didn't. He was really shit in his first season, I think, and then he was all right after that. But I'm sure in the first year he wasn't scoring many. But then again, you don't score many for Aston Villa because it's Aston fucking Villa.
Unless they're playing us.
Yeah. Again, we scored three against them on Anfield. Like we can score against them. It's just that there again is the night and day difference between where we were at the start of the season and where we are now. You scored a lot of goal and brushed them aside fairly easily at Anfield. And yeah, again, I know it's a home game, and then you play them away, and with 10 minutes left, you're cruising 3-1 up, and then suddenly McAllister gets caught. Do you know, I felt like Alisson could have stretched an arm out a bit more for that goal as well. Like, would have killed him to stretch an arm out a little bit more than he did. He seemed to like not reach for it. Like he was like, "Oh, it's not just gone past me, so I'm not going to bother."
I didn't watch any replays of it. I was so disgusted.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
And then the third goal, I mean, like that's the old adage when it's not going for you, it's really not going for you. Like that goal, how often will that goal go in?
Yeah,
Just
I know,
absolute total fluke. Yeah. So there we are. I've covered the goals.
And then
it was
we
our
had to
second goal.
listen to Alan Smith and his fucking terrible puns, Duran puns.
You think you guys had it bad? I watched it on the VPN, like my American subscription, and I had fucking Peter Drury. He's hungry like the wolf. It was fucking abysmal.
Oh no, we had that here.
We had goals on film as well.
Yeah.
I was surprised nobody said like it was just a reflex when it hit his knee. Like, I'm like, well, you've missed an open goal there. Like,
we also had some Tom Hanks puns.
Oh yeah, but what was it? He said something like, he completely fucked it up. Did you hear it? He said about, don't know about Saving Private Ryan. This is like saving, and he didn't know where he was going with it. And he just mumbled, and then the commentator just bailed him out. But I hate Alan Smith. He's by far the worst co-commentator. I hate it when he's on our games. Absolutely despise him.
I had Peter Drury talking about how Aston Villa, after they equalised, were going to infinity and beyond, and that pissed me off tonight because for about 5 minutes it made me dislike Tom Hanks. And that's never happened to me in my entire life.
Tom Hanks' character didn't even say that. You know.
No, he didn't. He didn't even say it.
No.
So it's a fucking shit reference. But I fucking love Tom Hanks, and I found myself yelling "fuck off, Forrest" at the screen tonight. Like,
I'm surprised you cared that much about tonight's game, to be honest.
Yeah, well.
What did John put in the chat? John said something about it's a shame it was Bubba that got killed and not fucking Tom. He was fuming because he just kept putting the camera on him.
Do you know what? I'm gonna be controversial. Surely, if any team is gonna sing "God Save the King," it's gonna be Villa, because like the Baldwin Prince supports them. He'll be king one day, so at least that they can, he's meant to be a fan, as much as a rich, posh, detached person can be a fan of anything outside of money and land. But, no, I'm not going to say it. So, yeah, I mean, at least they can say, with some justification, they can sing it, even though it's like, again, as David said before, Villa fans thinking they're dead original. It's like it's the worst own going, like singing the national anthem. Like, who gives a shit?
Yeah, pricks.
Who gives a shit?
They got proper cunty tonight, didn't they, when they were 3-1 down? They got like really fucking nasty and fucking smarmy about everything. Absolute fucking bellends. It doesn't take very long for those fuckers to go from being like laugh at your banter merchants to like nasty fucking horrible bastards.
Yeah. I'll just never forget that fucking party they had on the train on Gerrard's birthday when they were going to Wembley. It's just the saddest, lamest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to not thinking about Aston Villa for the next 4 months.
Yeah.
However long it is. 3 months.
Yeah, we can't get them in the first game of the season either because they're in the top four. So you won't get them early in the season either.
Good.
I look forward to us getting a promoted team.
Do we want to look a little bit ahead to Sunday, or is that sort of... We should probably talk about it a little bit, right?
I'm trying not to even think about it. It's just going to be grim. Like,
well, what would you like to say? Like, do
you think we're going to sort of be able to rouse ourselves to give him the send-off he deserves, do you think? And do you think it has the potential to still be a celebration rather than a funeral?
I think it'll be like one of those New Orleans funerals, where they're all dancing and that. But it's still a funeral.
Yeah. I think we'll win the game. And
like the start of Live and Let Die, only without the person getting killed. like that Bond reference.
Yeah,
But
I think
It's lost on me now.
raise our game. No, I'm not expecting a great performance, but I just think we'll win. Wolves haven't got much to play for. They've lost the
Hey,
last couple of games. I think
talk about
we'll
shit
win.
banter merchants. Wolves
I
fans,
know
that'll be fun.
yeah,
Why do we keep getting them last game of the season?
know.
Like, fucking hell, they must be bored of it as well.
at least they can't be like cheering Man City score this time because like it doesn't affect us.
Can't they?
Well, they probably will, but we're not going to be asked because it's like that ship sailed weeks ago. But
do you
no
think
doubt there'll be some shit they'll be singing about Klopp.
Yeah, it'll be like, "Where's your Jurgen gone?"
Oh
It'll
God.
be something terrible like that. But do you think, surely there's an opportunity for it to put the results aside and just make it entirely about, like, what do the club have planned in terms of commemorating him? Because it's got to be more than just like we've seen for ex-players when they come out and get like a little framed picture of their biggest moments with the team and the awards they've won and
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. Like, what have they got planned? Do we know anything about that?
No, I don't think they've said anything.
I reckon they'll get him on the mic.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Although they might be saving that for the arena now. Now they've got that show on.
No,
Are you guys going to go to that? You guys going to try and go to that arena show? It's like a couple of days
No.
after I go
I
back.
don't think so. No,
No, I
No.
can't be asked.
I think I'll watch it. Like it'll be streamed or something, won't it?
Yeah.
I think I'll probably just watch the recording of it. Say me goodbyes on Sunday.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it.
I do think there's potential for him to come out with all kinds of mad shit though in the arena, because he may just be in like don't give a fuck mode, and if he's had a few bevies as well, he was bad enough when he opened the new Annie Road stand.
Yeah.
So I do think there's definitely potential for some like mad stuff to be getting said.
Yeah. I was thinking tonight when our fans were singing his name kind of non-stop in the first half and towards the end as well, that like I think the new manager's going to have to put up with Jurgen's name being sung for a while, because I'm not ready to just like stop doing that just because there's a new bloke in the manager's seat, or due respect to him. Like, do you think that's something that'll continue happening? Like, you know, Kenny gets his name sung every week, and
I don't think so. I think it will happen when he comes back to watch
You
games.
think?
You know, because we'll probably know that he's coming back to watch a game, and I think it'll happen then. I don't think it'll happen the first few games with a new manager trying to
No, I
make
don't
his
know.
own way. I don't think that'll happen. But when he comes back to watch a match, then yeah.
all right.
Unless he's there at the first home game, and then that could be problematic. But no, I don't think he would be. I think he'll keep his distance for the first month or two before he even thinks about coming back. Just out of
I think it'll
respect
be
for-
around December time.
Yeah, that's what I'd expect.
Yeah.
But they've
I
got
think
surely
so.
they've got to do something on Sunday that's a bit out of the ordinary, right? Like that sort
Yeah,
of
I don't know
goes
what,
a bit
though.
further. To what I don't know what you could do other than like just
Maybe bring him out on the
unveiling a
pitch in a
statue
black
or
cab at
something.
the end.
Yeah.
With Trevor Morley driving.
Bring him out in a purple wheelie bin. Wheeler. Have Pep Linders wheel him out in a purple wheelie bin.
Yeah, I don't know.
I
I
don't
do
know.
think that they will do something, but no idea what it'll be.
Do you think you'll be able to hold it together, Dave?
No.
No.
I,
It's gonna be rough.
I
Isn't
think I'll probably be okay until I think he'll get on the microphone, and I think when he starts talking, I think that'll be it. I think everyone will just break down then, especially like if Kloppo starts crying, which I'm
Yeah.
expecting him to.
it? Yeah. It's going to be. I think that it might be like the audible cries from the crowd, like almost like a chant, like a like a universal
God.
sob.
Oh,
I'm not really doing
Can't
much
wait.
to raise spirits tonight, am I? As I'm failing in my my capacity here. Jules, do you think you can be quite stoic at times? Do you think you're going to be able to just keep us all together, keep the TLW contingent together on Sunday, or
I don't. Yeah, I don't think I'll cry. I'm not that stoic. I can't. I tear up at quite a lot of things. Fucking hell, I teared up fucking playing Red Dead Redemption 2. So It's towards the end. It's been out for a while, so I couldn't give a shit about the spoilers. The end, as you enter into the end game, like like these big open world games, you hit a point where if you do this mission, you're into the end game and you can't come out of it. This is it. So if you've got any other missions or shit you want to do them now before you go to the end game. You'll be able to do them after the game is finished and pick them up. But this is like once you start this mission, and your characters you get double crossed, and you're trying to ride away, and your horse gets shot and killed, and your characters they're like saying grieving over the death of his horse, and I was like, fucking hell, I'm getting a bit fucking teary here. What's going on? I just and the missus was watching, and she started crying like, "You're not even playing it. I've spent hundreds of hours running around with this horse. Me and him have bonded." So I'm trying to think what TV shows and I can't remember what I've watched, but I get quite. I don't really care, but I don't about football. I don't really or sport. I don't really get teary. I don't know why. I just it's just not a thing. I think the last time I got teary is when we lost the '96 Cup final. I don't really get into it at that point anymore. So you never know. It might get me. But I hope what I would like is bring him out with maybe do sort of bring him out with put all the trophies that he's won out on the pitch. Then we can see the Premier League title. That would be nice. Bring the European Cup, Premier League, FA Cup, League Cup, Super Cup, World Club Cup. Lay them all out and then and just have a few photos and Jurgen tell us your memories. How's it been? Is it special? Blah blah blah. It's all I suppose what he wants to do as well. He might not want to do a lot of it, but I'd expect him to get him on the microphone.
Yeah.
It's just been I'm not going to get sad over it. It's been a great ride. It's a shame he's not got more trophies. I don't think that's not his fault though. He can leave knowing that he's given it all, and he's left it all on the table. There's nothing left to give. We've said at the start, there's literally nothing left to give. It's clear now that his decision was correct, and he's running out of energy. And if he can't operate at full energy, it doesn't really work. So you can go with his head held high. I feel like he might end up going back to Dortmund to do something with them at some point, rather than come back to Liverpool. So we'll see about that. But no, I don't think I'll tear up. I'm gonna sound. I do sound like a right heartless, miserable person, but I don't even get that arse when former players come back. They bring them on the pitch and they go, "Look, it's Lucas was back early in the season. I know now Lucas is not at the highest echelon of Liverpool players, but I like Lucas. He was new here. He was well regarded. But I sort of go, and hello, you're on the pitch. I don't care. Once they've gone, I just want to move on, and they just want to move forward and see what's coming next. I don't really, I can't really be bothered looking back and going Sammy Hoopy is here again, a player I absolutely loved when he played. There's Ian Rush, or there's John Barnes, Paul's mate. I don't really care that much. Because I just want to move on to the next thing. I want to look forward. I want to see what's coming next, even though it might not be as good. There's no, I can spend time on YouTube later on looking back at. I actually don't like looking back at Klopp's Liverpool, because we were so dynamic and great, and fucking should have won more things. It's really unfair that we had this team at the exact wrong time. So it's not unfair. We did win a league. We did win things, I suppose. But it is you do, and a lot of football fans don't get 10% of what Liverpool have won in their lifetime. So it's not unfair, I suppose. But it just feels like it's really bad timing.
Unjust,
couldn't have timed it worse. Yeah.
One thing I hope we don't see on Sunday, which we have in the last few years, and it's been quite annoying, is the parade of everybody's fucking wives and kids on the
No,
pitch.
especially this time. You're right. Yeah.
I hope not, especially not this weekend. not
shit.
on
I
Sunday
hate it.
though.
I know.
There needs to be some fucking restraint about it because it's become a fucking joke. Like they need to have the current squad, maybe a few of the players who've won stuff with Klopp. They should be there for this. None of the wives, none of the kids, none of the coaching staff's families, like none of that stuff. Just Klopp, his players, and us. That's all there fucking needs to be, and nobody else belongs anywhere near that field. So they need to get that shit in order because things are going to just get lost in the shuffle otherwise. And because that's what's happened in previous years. Like important players have left, and you're looking around the field and you can't fucking see them because like some fucking 8-year-old's fucking dicking about, or some fucking identikit wife is on the field when they shouldn't be on there. It's like fuck off, get off the fucking field.
Yeah.
It's not the time or the place.
I know. I don't know how that crept in, but it's just gotten worse and worse to the point where players who haven't got kids are now bringing like nephews and shit on there. It's too much. I don't want to see any of them. They don't.
No.
There's no need for them to be on the pitch. I want to see the players who have been watching all season, and I want to like clap the players, thank them for the efforts throughout the season. I don't need to be having to like try to say where is he? You know, where's that player? Who's that there? I can't see him because he's like surrounded by all like wives, kids, whatever, coaching staff's family. It's become a farce, and I expect it to be exactly like that on Sunday, and it shouldn't be, but I do think it will be.
It's fucking better not be. I'll be fucking so pissed off.
It will.
Do you
They
know
might
what I
just
think
have a
started
separate
it?
thing though. Like they may have like something afterwards when people clear out
He
and then
comes back
Klopp's in
out.
front of the clock. They may do it like that. I don't think Klopp will get lost in the shuffle, but they will all be on the pitch again.
Yeah. I think, do you know what I think fucking started it? It was Carragher's kids. Carragher's kids running around the field, kicking balls in the Kop goal. And then I think after that, it was like carte blanche for everybody who's ever had sex with a woman and produced a child to bring them on the fucking field.
Every team does it though. It's like it's just
fucking
crept
joke.
in in
Fuck
football.
off.
It's like it's every club.
It pisses me off way more than it should.
No,
It's like
it
one of my
bothers me as
absolute
well.
all-time
Yeah,
bugbears.
it annoys me as well.
It's fucking disgrace. Like, you've
It's a
got
ma-
no
it's a-
business on there. It's about
it's a
the
massive
fans thanking the
entourage.
players and the manager for the season. That's all it is. It's not a fucking end-of-season jolly for you and your lip filler to come out and fucking made up to the nines with your 7 kids.
You know,
Fucking pisses me off, man.
it's it's like a medieval court move in, isn't it? Like, you know, when a medieval court would go, like it would just be like a massive entourage of loads of people going from place to place, and they walk around the field, and it's like, yeah, you want about 30 to 40 people, which would be 30 people, which would be the coaching staff, the manager, and the playing staff, and it's about 60 to 70.
More
And I
than
remember
that.
last year, like I was trying to find, like James Milner was out in front, but I was like trying to keep track of Milner, and then all of a sudden he was like a deluge of like people and kids and women in tight trousers walking around, and I'm like, I don't know where's he going, what's going on here. I just want to like pay my respects to this player that I know is leaving, and it is difficult. It is annoying.
Yeah, so
And
if
it'll
there are
100%
any
happen.
if there are any wives of the players who listen to this podcast, get in your fucking WhatsApp group text, your little fucking wag WhatsApp group text or whatever it is, and tell all your little mates to stay off the fucking field on Sunday because we'd like to properly say goodbye to our manager. If you wouldn't fucking mind.
Yeah,
I told them, didn't it?
I don't think any of them listen. and if they did, they'd probably be out there for spite now. They'll be bringing fucking sisters and everything with them.
Gosh.
They'll be like grandmas, fucking aunties. They'll all be out there.
Man.
Just speaking of James Milner, did you see that? There's a video like the Premier League put out the other day where they were talking to like different players, just asking them like random questions, and one of them was like, "Have you got any phobias?" So like, there's a few players, as you'd expect, like, oh yeah, spiders and stuff. And there's like a Burnley player. I don't know who he was. I've never seen him before, and he said that he was like deadly serious. Everyone else was like laughing about it, and he just went into this big like long explanation about why he hates wasps and he runs away from them, and it was quite funny just how serious he took it. And he said, Milner, you know, have you got any phobias? Obviously it's James Milner. He's like, no, I haven't got any. And he looked at the press officer and he went, he said, but like, he said, Lewis Dunk has, or your boy Richard Dunk.
Richard Dunk.
Long-time listeners will get that. Everyone else is like, what? And he looks at the press officer and he's like, is this common knowledge? Can I say it? And like, the press officer must have just been like, ugh. And he went, I'm going to say it. And he went, yeah, Donkey's scared of bananas. He's got a phobia of bananas. And he went, so I put one in his pocket a few weeks ago, and he said he freaked out and he had to remove it with a towel. But yeah, so there's just like random questions getting asked, and like Harvey was on, and they asked Harvey which one of his teammates would survive in a zombie apocalypse, and bizarrely he said Darwin. He said Darwin, he's crazy and he'll fight anyone. I'm like, that's not the impression that like I have, that like, you know, he's aggressive and he's wanting to fight people. But anyway, I'm thinking
they're always the people who die first in the zombie movies, though.
Yeah, and the other thing is like you can imagine it, like, you know, to kill a zombie, you got to shoot them in the brain, haven't you? Darwin would be like, bang, oh, look at that, right through the heart, bang, chest, and then the next thing he's getting eaten because he's not hit the target. And then you can imagine Mo shooting like 10 yards over the zombie's head and then like laughing as he's getting fucking eaten.
At least zombie Darwin wouldn't be offside as much. Like,
yeah, because they're slow moving. Unless they're like the World War Z zombies. Fucking hell.
Oh yeah, they move, those guys, didn't they?
But who would survive? If you had to pick one player, who's going to survive? I tell you, Alisson. It definitely won't be. You just said Alisson. It won't be Alisson, and it won't be Gakpo. Because they would just give their lives up to save somebody else. There's like no way would they. You just know they'd sacrifice themselves. It's going to be some sneaky bastard like Jota.
Robbo there.
Robbo, yeah. Could be Robbo, could be Jota. Somebody like that, I reckon.
No, I think Robbo, he's got the tenaciousness and sneaky bastard.
Yeah.
Because I was going to say the same as Chris. It'd be Alisson, right? He looks like he could live on a ranch and be okay.
No, he'd be helping people and he'd end up getting bit and like protecting somebody.
It could be like Thiago, because like he has a knack of just like disappearing for like a year at a time.
It'd be 28 days later, he'd just wake up in hospital.
Yeah.
He's been there for months. Where the fuck is everyone? What's going on?
He wouldn't survive
with me hamstring. What's happening here?
Yeah, well, I say he wouldn't survive because he'd be running away and he'd ping his hammy and he'd be fucked then, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, man. And Dave, I think it seemed like a lot of the time tonight our lads were just hell bent on getting John McGinn as mad as humanly possible.
It didn't take much, did it? It was just what an absolute tit. Like, I think it was 70 minutes when he got a yellow card. I'm like, how's he managed to get through this long without getting booked? He was trying to referee the game. He was just
That's why he got through it, because he was refereeing the game.
Yeah, he was pissing me off. Fucking absolutely fat prick. Like, John was. I'd got that from John. John was shouting like, "You fat twat" when we played them earlier in the season. And I was just sat there, just like, oh really? And he's like, well, by footy player standards, he's fat. Look at him. I'm like, you know what? You're right, because footy players are not normally built like that. I'll allow that. I'll let that go. But no, he was a disgrace tonight. And what the hell is it with that? Well, I don't know if it was just him or the whole team, but it was definitely like, it looked like he had his own little personal rain cloud following him around the pitch, because he was fucking drenched from about the first minute.
It's their. Have you not seen that?
No.
It's the shirts. The that Jag brand that makes Villa's and Newcastle's kit. They've got really shit material.
They've got Everton next year then.
Have they?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a shame for Everton. But like Villa have fucked them off to go to Adidas, and I think so have Newcastle, because they were so pissed off with the quality of the shirts. But like Villa's shirts, especially in the start of the season when it was warmer, they were like it was clinging to them, like it was really bad. I think they sort of altered the material a little bit, But no, it's the shirts. It's like been a thing with I can't is how do you say, is it Castor? I think it's
Castor, yeah.
Castor. Yeah, they seem to have like a lot of people. They're making a lot of like kits and stuff like that, but they don't seem to have they've expanded probably beyond their means, because they get lots of complaints about sort of quality as well with the fan reproductions and stuff. But yeah, it's their kits. Early in the season, it looked like they'd. Do you remember Arsenal had a Puma kit years ago that was really, really fucking tight, like way too
Oh, yeah.
tight?
Yeah.
Looked like a Welsh rugby
Um,
shirt.
yeah, like well, like yeah, the rugby shirts, like they sort of make them so players can't grip them, don't they?
Hmm.
Because but like the Arsenal Puma shirt years ago, that was really bad. It was like that, only far worse, because that Puma shirt was designed to be like that, whereas um, the Villa shirt is not meant to be like that. It's just shit material. So they fucked them off. They're going to Adidas with Newcastle.
It just looks like they're in a wet t-shirt contest.
You
It
definitely
does.
don't want
Well, with tits
a
like
bunch
John
of
McGinn.
fat, sweaty fucking Brummies like wandering around in them all the time, do you?
No, not a good
God,
look.
they're the fucking worst.
Yeah. Yeah, John McGinn, no, what a twat.
What a twat.
Someone said, I think it was on the forum, they said like he looks like a photo fit drawing. And he does, because his features are all like weird. He's got all these like little tiny features that don't seem to go. He looks like you know when Simpsons, when there's like the Bart's twin brother who lives in the loft eating fish heads.
Yeah.
I feel like John McGinn's like Robbo's ugly twin.
Yeah, because
And
all
not
his
just 'cause they're
features like
Scottish.
sunk into his face. It's really weird.
But he has got a look of Robbo about him. But
Yeah.
just like a twisted, fucked up version of Robbo.
Fat.
Fat
Twisted.
version. A fat, twisted, fucked up version of Robbo. I actually liked him up until tonight, I've got to be honest. I always thought he was alright, but he pissed me right off tonight. From really early on in the game as well.
Yeah, definitely. I was really happy when Maka left that one. I was, I want to see more of that from our lads from time to time. Just fucking batter some players that us as fans are all pissed off watching. Like even Endo
Anyone
laid
from
one on him
Wolves?
as well.
Who could we get on Sunday? I don't like that Neto prick,
Is that the
No,
one who
I mean, he's got
celebrated,
form,
did the
hasn't he,
mad
that
celebrations against
Yeah.
us?
Celebrated
Yeah,
in
him
front
then.
of the main stand, and then it was disallowed. He's probably injured anyway.
Let's just go batter everyone on Sunday. Let's go kick lumps out of people and
Can they bring Connor Cody back? He's back next season. He's at Leicester, isn't he? He got promoted.
oh yeah, oh man,
You can have another Leicester rant anyway.
yeah, nice. Oh dear. All right. Well, do you guys have anything else you want to add about tonight or the weekend we've got coming up that none of us are looking forward to?
Nah.
Or do you want to call it a night?
Yeah, well, let's get out of here.
All right. Good stuff, boys. Okay. Sorry we couldn't bring you a more upbeat pod tonight. A little bit downbeat. I hope you had a few laughs with us along the way. Dave and the boys will be back after Sunday. That's going to be quite the emotional one, I'm sure. Hope you'll join us for that. Thanks for tonight. But until then, we'll catch you soon.